Hey guys, welcome to your 6th XNA game development tutorial. In this tutorial we're gonna go over classes, and that's pretty much it, just classes. So last time we went over functions and how they have their own return values and parameters. So what we're gonna do is just delete all of this, just simplify that a little bit. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to create our own class. You're probably not going to understand some of this code, but just go with it for now and I'll explain everything after. So go ahead and type class, and you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to just call it my class. And you just don't put anything after that, but underneath put an opening brace and a closing brace. And these are gonna signify the beginning and end of our class. And the next thing we're gonna need is a constructor function. So what you'll do is you put public, and then whatever you called your class is what you're gonna name this function. And what this function is gonna do is it's gonna be called when we make our object. And so let's just say, and then we'll, yeah, just leave that blank for now actually. But we're going to create a new variable, and this is going to be inside the class. Now before we were only making variables inside a function right here, inside this main function. And whenever you create a variable inside a function, it only lasts until that function is completed. So say I make an inside. Actually, hold on. Say I make. So let's make a new function, and it's not going to return anything. But let's create an int. Say my int equals 8. Now when we call this function in here, let me get static first. My function, this int right here is only going to last until right after here. Otherwise it's erased from memory. But whenever you call the function again, it's created again. But this is a little different when you create a variable in a class. It'll stay there as long as the object is there. So let's create an int. Say just number 1. Let's say equals 5. So inside a class you're gonna have two different things, and that's really all you got to worry about, is variables and functions. And whenever you create a new class, whenever you create your own class, you're usually going to want what's called a constructor function. And that's this right here. This is a function, and then whenever you create a new instance of that class, this is what's going to be called. So you're probably asking, what do you mean by instance? And basically what classes are is the blueprints for some kind of object. So let's make this a little more simple. Let's say we have a class, and it's going to be a class of a human. So we're going to have a class called human, and we're actually going to have like some properties of what a human would have. So we can say we'll make a string, and we'll call it I don't know, eye color. So basically it's like the blueprints for something, what properties it has, and the things that it can do. So we're going to have to rename this constructor function to whatever the class is called. And then, so let's have some more stuff. So string like height and stuff like that. And then And then we can also create additional functions inside this class. So say for instance you want to do a function, so let me show you. Let's do void walk. So this would be something that a human could do, is walk, and so we have a function for that. And whenever you create your classes, you'll kind of be in this mindset, you know, what can my class do, what's associated with this class. So we have a human class, and it has an eye color, it has a height, and it can do things like walk, and maybe one run. It can walk and run. So now you have this new class that you created. Now we can actually do something with it. So let's just delete all this stuff. So you have your main class, which is called program. This is the class that's given to you by default. And then we just created a new class, and it's called human. So now what we want to do is create an instance of this object. And this will be a little more clear in a second. But what we're going to do is say, you know how we had a type, so we had an int, which was a type. Now instead of int, we're going to put human. So that's our new type. And we'll just call this human Joe. And that's the identifier. And so now, whenever you create an object, what you have to do is say this human, that we're calling Joe, is going to be equal to new human, and then put parentheses. And now what this is doing when we say new, that means allocate some memory to that. So we're creating a new human class, and we have to assign it some memory for these string objects and all the functions and stuff. So that's what we have to do. And see how there's parentheses here, and this is basically like kind of like calling a function, and we're calling this one right here. So whenever we create this human class, we're going to call that function right here, and it'll do something. So for example, let's do a little example of that. Right line. My name is Joe. So now whenever we create a new object human class called Joe, it's gonna write to the screen, my name is Joe. And there you go. It writes it out. But say we want to put our name, say we want to send it a name, and it'll print that out. Let's try that. So what we have to do is this function is just like any other function, and what it can do is take parameters like what we've done before. So we can say string name. So now whenever we create a new human object, we'll send it a name, and then it'll print that name out. So let's say Joe, since this is Joe. And then that's the name that we're sending. So Joe will end up here, and then we can use this. And then just put that there and run it, and I'll say Joe. And so now what we can do is, since this is actually like a type, it's our class that we made, so we can have more than one. So let's make another one and call it Fred, and we'll allocate memory to it, and we'll call its constructor function and Fred. So there. So now we have Joe, a human Joe, and a human Fred. And we're just gonna run that, and see it ran both of those functions, as we can see. So I think I'm running out of time. So in the next tutorial, I'll go over how to access variables inside a class and how to run functions inside a class. So please subscribe if you're like these tutorials, and see you next time.